The next time you'll see us on the CFL Live following tonight's football game is on Friday. That's July the 19th. We're on the air at 10:30 Eastern Time. The BC Lions home to the Montreal Alouettes. Now, the last game that we did was on Sunday. The Hamilton Tiger Cats were playing host to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And for those viewers out there who watched the football game, at the end of the game, Matt Dunnigan was a little bit upset, to say the least. And we never really found out why until now. Why was Dunnigan so...
Marty found out for us.
Upset, so to speak.
Yeah, guys, I spoke to Matt yesterday, and what he said was that at the end of the game, he wanted to take a couple of knees and go to the house, was what he said, because there were only 20-odd seconds left, and he already was up by 3 points. He just wanted to not risk the idea of a fumble or an interception on an exchange. But then after he went to his knee on the first play, he looked over the sideline, and there was Southern going, get in the end zone, get in the end zone. So and the next play, he tries a pass play and goes to the center. And by the way, Dunnigan said, Dunnigan said he should have made it in that play.
But you noticed that he took a serious hit on that pass play.
He did.
Because when you have the game won and you're still trying to dig into the defense, they get offended by that. They take it personally.
Exactly.
And they tried to hit Dunnigan, and they put a...
And that's what he was so upset about, Les. He got up and he started swearing at, and if you could read lips, you could see what he's saying. He was doing that at Sudsy. But as Southern explained to Matt afterwards, and this produced a little bit of a stain on an otherwise very nice season for the start to the season for these guys. What happened was, Sudsy said, look, under the playoff format this year, you've got the top 2 teams in the East getting in, and you've got the top 3 teams in the West. One more team gets in, either the top or the 3rd team in the East or the 4th team in the West. If those 2 teams happen to be tied, then they go to points scored. And so Sudsy was quite right in trying to get the
but you know what, though? I don't think we have to worry about the Hamilton Tiger Cats finishing in third place in the East Division.
And I think they outscored the Western teams already.
Pretty much.
One other point.
Pretty much.
Because of that, you're not going to see too many teams kneeling anymore. You'll see that in the NFL in the final 2 minutes when a game is in hand, but you're not going to see that. So guys are going to get offended when they have the lead. They're still going to go for the points this year.
Well, if there's a reason for going for the points, you should go for them because of what you just mentioned. Because as we said on the telecast, if it was an Eastern opponent, they definitely would have taken the points for those reasons. But now that that format situation in the playoffs has changed, you're quite right about how they may react to that situation in future games.
And I think that every coach from now on, even the team that's losing, is going to punt the ball in their situation like that because they'll know from now on that everybody's going to try to go for more points.
Yeah, but you brought up a good point yourself, Les. It's extremely frustrating when you're down and you know the game is out of hand, and yet the opposition continues to run the football down your throat or throw it down your throat. Football players have very, very long memories, and they put that in the back of their mind. Well, the Toronto Argonauts and the Ottawa Roughriders, they have a lot of history between these two franchises. Tonight, they meet at Skydome. We anticipate a very good football game.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by Corel, world leader in CD-ROM technology.
Hey, Katie.
Hey, Marianne.
Hey, hi. What's up, Sandy?
Hey, Lisa. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi.
What's up, Linda?
Hey, guys.
Huh. Whoa. Hey, you notice anything kind of different about the girls this semester?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, they're all wearing that Pepsi stuff. Huh.
Now, drink a lot of Pepsi, collect a lot of points, get a lot of cool stuff.
I love this school.
Uh-huh.
As if you need another reason to go to the Keg Steakhouse.
Introducing the Keg's really cool car contest. Visit the Keg Steakhouse and Bar between June 24th and August 4th and fill out a ballot to win a 1929 Model A hot rod or a Keg gift certificate.
From Skydome, CFL Live presents the Ottawa Roughriders and the Toronto Argonauts. The lid is open at Skydome after a last-second victory in Ottawa Friday. The Roughriders look for their first road win in 14 games. The Argos have won 2 on the road, but have yet to win on home turf. And it's a perfect night for it, with the roof open at Skydome. The Roughriders hired CFL veteran John Payne 10 days ago. Payne provided Ottawa with a thrilling win in his debut, but faces longer odds in his second game tonight. And Don Matthews beat up on the Bombers last week, but is still a little snarly over a loss to Hamilton in week number 2. Almost set for the kickoff at Skydome, Toronto. And we're underway. Ken Wilhite beginning for Ottawa. He's out across the 30 to the 35 and brought down there. Rough Rider quarterback David Archer ran his new offense effectively last week. The team has great confidence in his abilities, particularly after he engineered late touchdowns in the win over BC. Johnson Joseph makes his first start with Robert Gordon at the other wideout receiver. Joseph Rogers and Bill Hess begin inside, and Reggie Barnes and Lee Knights are in Archer's backfield. It is 1st and 10 Ottawa out across the 35. Barnes gets the call, and he's got close to 5 yards.
Well, I don't think there's any question the Toronto Argonaut defense is so much more improved over last season. Tim Cofield, Alex Gordon at the ends. If they get the good push up the middle from Stewart and Waldrop, they're going to be awesome. What they sacrifice in blitzing ability, they get in coverage with defensive backs Greg Eaglin and Donnie Wilson, and a secondary that really hasn't quite rounded into form yet, but on paper looks like it's a decent one.
The gain is 4. This is 2nd and 6. Ottawa approaching the 40-yard line. Archer from the shotgun swings it out for Barnes out of the backfield. Good move by Barnes, but he can't get away from all of those Argos. Reggie Gibbons with a big hit. The gain is 4 yards, and quickly Ottawa's into a punting situation with Lamley trotting out onto the field.
Well, there's so many free agents that have signed on with the Toronto Argonauts, Reggie Gibbons being one, and, you know, linebacker, middle linebacker coming into this season was a true question mark, but in the first 3 games of the season, Reggie Gibbons hasn't disappointed anybody, and he shows you what kind of quick range he has to come up and get Reggie Barnes there out in the flat and keep him short of the first down. He's got tremendous speed from the middle.
The ex-Argo Wayne Lamley across the 35 to get a low, deep kick away. Jimmy Cunningham back to his 15. Hasn't broken one this year. The Argos are hoping for a little better punt return. And it's Lamley over to slow him down and force him out.
You know, one of the things that Don Matthews said yesterday, we haven't had good punt returns because we've had lousy punts to try and field. That was a good punt and gave Cunningham lots of time to set up that return.
Doug Flutie has thrown 8 touchdowns and 7 interceptions in his first 3 games. He has good receivers in Mazzotti and Cunningham outside. Inside, Tyrone Williams and Jeff Fairholm. In the backfield, Mike Clemens and Robert Drummond, who has been superb.
What a treat he has been to watch. Robert Drummond with the double-triple last week, 100 yards rushing and 100 yards plus in receiving.
And after a 34-yard return, it's first down, and Fairholm makes the first catch of the ballgame for the Argos. He's wrestled out by Frank West.
Well, a few interesting faces on defense for the Ottawa Rough Riders tonight. A couple former Argonauts starting at defensive ends with Jeff Cummins and Swift Birch. Perennial All-Star Lloyd Lewis, and at linebacker, Frank West is actually a cornerback that is playing at linebacker for some coverage help. Don't be surprised if Toronto tries to run at him. Tommy Henry, former Argo, on the corner. More of a halfback. We'll see if Doug Flutie goes after him early.
Fairholm picked up 9. This is 2nd and 1. Toronto has a first down as Robert Drummond breaks through. Tough guy to bring down. Frank West was the guy who slowed down number 29, Robert Drummond, averaging 6.5 yards a carry, Lee.
And that's something that the Argonauts haven't had in the past few years. You know, you talk about that double, triple a week ago. Those are his numbers on the entire year, but to average over 6 yards a carry, I mean, that is something that we just haven't seen here in Toronto for a heck of a long time.
He picked up 21 yards there. 1st and 10 Argos at the Ottawa 36. Flutie looking for Drummond, and I think it was tipped just at the last possible second. Dwayne Knights was in the area covering, number 44.
Yeah, that's a nice matchup for Doug Flutie. Robert Drummond on Dwayne Knight. Dwayne Knight's got tremendous speed as a linebacker, but he still can't stay with Robert Drummond. Drummond clocked as a 10-3 100-meter, man, and I mean, that is moving it.
That was back in high school.
Well, yeah, and he's still got that, and you talk about 6'3", 215, he's got the strength. Dwayne Knight's got lots of speed, but I like that matchup in Toronto's favor.
2nd and 10 Argos. Flutie out of the cover has Mazzotti. Mazzotti won't get to the first down area. Stopped at the 25. Mazzotti with his 19th catch of the season. That one for 6 yards.
Yeah, and on this opening drive, one of the keys for Don Matthews' offense is the fact that Flutie's had all kinds of time to throw. Ottawa tried to stunt to get some extra pressure, but the much improved offensive line of Toronto gave him lots of time to throw. And what I like about Flutie and what he seems to do in every game is at least get his team off to a good start. Don Matthews talked about that yesterday. It seems uncanny how many opening drives that Doug Flutie has result in points, and now he set his team up to try and get 3 points and take a quick early lead.
Mike Vanderjack hitting on 66% of his field goals. Flutie will hold from 32. And no doubt about that one. The Argos score in their opening drive. It is 3-0 Toronto at Skydome. You're watching CFL Live.
Great football. Great software. Join the winning team. It's unbeatable.
It's an amazing country, eh, Jack?
Major, I found them!
Uh-oh.
After them! There they are!
Well, I guess we can't discuss this over a beer or something. I don't think so. Have that angry, Major? Get there. It looks like Amanda's father. Amanda? Oh, after you. Oh, no. After you. No. I'd say...
Labatt True Canadian Lager.
As an adult, I insist on a cereal that offers nutrition. Yet I can't deny that part of me desires frosting. My cereal is low in fat.
And taste. What about taste?
Kellogg's Mini Wheats, whole grain wheat, low in fat and no added salt. For the kid in you, lightly frosted, great taste.
I know it goes on my tray.
The sweet stuff.
Kellogg's Mini Wheats is proud to sponsor the Canadian Olympic team and support Anne Momany as she competes for Canada. Help celebrate with special edition Olympic packs.
James Duke Ellingson got into the Ottawa lineup for the first time in '96 last week against BC. One catch in the game, Leaf, but it was the one that kept the drive alive for Ottawa.
Sure was. You know, he's had a long career, and you know, the numbers haven't been unbelievable. They've been very believable. The Duke is a possession receiver. He's not going to beat you deep, but you know, he still can make a contribution of some sort.
Ottawa first down at the 35. Flags are down as Barnes carries. That's Reggie Barnes out to about the 38-yard line, but markers were down in a hurry. Indication is offside against the Argonauts. Up front with Alex Gordon, Andrew Stewart.
Offside. Toronto number 92. Repeat first down.
You know, the Toronto Argonauts are just encroaching in that 1-yard zone, and it's Rob Waldrop, number 92, and you know, there's no question he's got to make sure he just gets a yard off the ball, and he didn't jump offside, just lined up in the wrong spot.
Couple of sacks for Waldrop already, and at the end is number 56, Tim Cofield, who's rounding into shape after a bit of a slow start because of an injury. On 1st and 5, play action. Archer standing in and threw behind the intended receiver. Rogers with Smith covering number 12. That's Adrian Smith in for Donald Smith, who's on the injury list.
Well, he was all over Joseph Rogers on this one, was Adrian Smith, and you'll see right here, I mean, coming from the right side, I mean, that is terrific coverage. Toronto's got, you know, some good people in that secondary, and if they want to take some chances, they can play man-to-man. They just don't have the right linebackers to bring a lot of people.
2nd and 5. Archer looking for the first down, and Lee Knight was tied up. Greg Eaglin, number 13, was covering on Knight. Knight really couldn't get his hands up. It'll be 3rd down and another punting situation. Ottawa.
Well, one of the things, the matchups that Toronto likes, here's Greg Eaglin right here, and here's Lee Knight, the number 3 receiver. And when you've got a defensive back playing linebacker, you know, you can get coverage like that. I mean, you lose him briefly there, but, you know, when we get back to it, I mean, you know, he is all over Lee Knight, and that's one of the strengths of the Toronto defense. They match up very well in pass coverage.
Lamley's kick higher this time, and no play for Jimmy the Jet Cunningham near the 35. So Flutie onto the field as he engineered a 32-yard field goal the last time he had his hands on the ball. You were talking about how well Flutie has moved the football through 3 weeks in early drives with Toronto.
Oh, and that's so important, you know, to try and set the tone of the game early, to get some quick confidence for your team, and it helps the defense too. You know, defense figures, hey, our guys on offense are going to have a pretty good night tonight, and that cranks them up as well. Some pretty good names atop that leaderboard after 3 weeks.
And it's flagged or whistled down before the play actually got underway. Did Flutie take too long? It looks like he ran out of time. Back in the shotgun. Jake Ireland in charge of proceedings.
Procedure. Toronto number 62. Still 1st down.
62 is Chris Perez, one of 3 imports in the Argonaut offensive line.
Boy, is this a different offensive line from a year ago. You know, Chris Perez and Vic Stevenson at the tackles, Pierre Vercheville, Joe Burgos, and All-Canadian Mike Kiselek. I mean, in one short period of time, they've gone to having a real strong offensive line from one that was a bit of a liability.
On 1st and 15, Flutie has his target open, and there are markers down again. Fairholm makes the catch. We'll see what the infraction is.
Well, regardless of how they call this penalty, I think it's good to see, and it's going to go against Ottawa. It's good to see Jeff Fairholm with his 2nd catch early in the game, and I really believe that it's important. I'll finish this in a second.
On an eligible receiver, Ottawa number 6 declines.
It's Tommy Henry, the corner, but I think it's really important for Jeff Fairholm to catch balls early right now. He struggled for a couple of years, and you know, I know Doug Flutie's trying to build his confidence back up, and to me it's really important that he's gone to him early in this game, and I know that's going to get Jeff charged up.
Coming into the game, Fairholm with just 5 receptions for 67 yards. He has a couple tonight, including that for 17, and he's the target again, but Flutie one-hopped it to Fairholm that time.
And that was the first time Ottawa sent more than just their front 4. Dwayne Knight, 44, the linebacker, was coming, and in a 5-on-5 pass rush, they finally got some heat on Doug Flutie and forced him to throw it into the dirt. A lot of pressure on Ray Bernard right now, the middle linebacker tonight. The way Ottawa likes to play defense, they like to wall off to each side of the field and try to keep receivers out of the middle, and when they do that, that means that Lee Bernard is going to be matched up, Ray Bernard rather, going to be matched up against a running back with a lot of room.
On 2nd and 10, Flutie has time, buys a little more, and has Mazzotti for a 1st down. Nice catch by Mazzotti. Don Odegaard. $13-yard gain.
And one of the favorite moves for Paul Mazzotti is to take this little pirouette inside and then to the back to the outside. Doug Flutie with all kinds of time to wait till he gets open, and they get the 1st down, keep this drive moving.
1st and 10 from the 48. Toronto with a 3-0 lead. Play action fake by Flutie. He'll have to move with Knight in pursuit, and he steps out near the 39-yard line. Dwayne Knight chasing Doug Flutie that time. Flutie manages 7 yards.
Well, this is the beauty of Doug Flutie. I mean, he's got the protector Pierre Vercheville out in front. Now it's his choice, you know. there's nothing there, you get to run, and he's got about 7 yards. And well, you look at the Toronto team, and how is it different from a year ago? Well, they're rushing the football for almost 140 yards a game, which Doug Flutie is a big part of. Those are his numbers. But with Drummond and Mike Clemens, last year they were only about 72 yards a game. So you can see what a difference this running game has made to their offense.
From the 41, it's 2nd and 3. Flutie has his man coming out of the backfield. Down to the 7-yard line. Norm Casola finally caught after a 34-yard gain by Dwayne Knight.
Just off to the left of your screen, Norm Casola lines up as a tight end, and it's play action. Doug Flutie, the key, he never looks to Casola till the last minute, fools everybody, and Norm Casola in the first game of the season caught a ball, and he used to wear number 35. Now he changed. I said, who the heck is that number 80? I was so used to him being 35, but what a big play that was for him.
Down at the Ottawa 6-yard line, 1st and 10, and Flutie will go back to the huddle after running out of time. Casola in his 3rd year out of Windsor sets up the opportunity for a touchdown. He's replaced quickly on the next sequence by Jeff Fairholm.
Still first down.
That's real mental error down the goal line. That's something you don't see happen to a Doug Flutie too often, but maybe he didn't have the right personnel in there, wanted Fairholm back in for Casola. I guess with his kind of confidence and ability, you can allow yourself to take that penalty.
1st and goal from the 11. Flutie looking for Drummond, can't get him free. And Flutie steps out near the 5-yard line. In fact, just inside, forced out by Len Humphreys, who had a great game last week. Number 23 for Ottawa. Flutie picks up 7. So he's got a couple of cracks at it from the 4-yard line now. Averaging 6.7 yards a rush. Cunningham to the near side, Masani to the far side. 2nd and goal to go, Argos from just inside the 5. Flags are down as Flutie missed his target, looking for Tyrone Williams, number 81. Flag is on the line. Tyrone Williams has 4 touchdowns on the season. This might be going against the Rough Riders. That's the initial indication. Offside.
Yeah, he is, I wouldn't call him a pleasant surprise. I think, Doug Flutie, we talked about Tyrone early in the year, what he would give this offense.
Ottawa number 90, first down.
That's Swift Birch, the ex-Argo, or one of the ex-Argos.
I think Tyrone Williams so important for him to get off to a good start with this new team and get his confidence up. And those 4 touchdowns you mentioned, John, would certainly do that in a hurry in 3 games.
1st and goal to go at the 2. And Drummond can't get there on the first try. Great play by the Ottawa defense. That's Lloyd Lewis and Swift Birch anchoring the right side.
Pretty good surge by that Ottawa front four. Lloyd Lewis gets underneath Pierre Vercheval and stuffs it up, and that allows linebacker Dwayne Knight to come up over the top. That's pretty nice play. Well, let's see if they can do that 2 or 3 times in a row, though.
I'm not
that
so
becomes
sure.
the challenge. Yeah, really.
It's possible to keep Drummond out of there. 2 more times. 2nd and goal to go. Rough Riders 1-yard line, and Flutie is in. Can't give Flutie too many opportunities. A penalty there gave him 1 more chance at it. And Flutie himself over from the 1.
Well, Doug Flutie just kind of jumps over the top of Lloyd Lewis and Obi Spanik there, and Ray Bernard was nowhere to be found. I called him Lee Bernard earlier in the telecast.
I was thinking about back to some old days in Saskatchewan.
Absolutely.
Wasn't there a Lee Bernard?
Lee Bernard was a defensive back with the Rough Riders back in 1974, and how could I get those two confused?
Well, you corrected yourself quickly. The other Bernard played briefly in Saskatchewan, too.
That's right. Maybe that's why I got it confused. Pretty good start for Toronto tonight. You know, you look at those odds makers, and it's uncanny how they predict. And they said 18 points. And the way this one is starting, you have to think that they're pretty smart prognosticators.
Well, that's 10. The Argos on top of the Ottawa Rough Riders. Flutie has engineered 2 marches for 10 points.
The definition of radical: to depart from the norm, to stand up for what's important with courage and passion. The definition of Canadian, not American. It's time to stand up and get passionate about your country, its traditions, its future. One of these great traditions is football played the way it was meant to be. Radically Canadian. The Canadian Football League. It's hard-hitting. It's longer, wider, faster football. Every game is an event, a party. More importantly, it's our game and we won't change it for anyone. The CFL, radically Canadian and proud of it. Now you too can be a radical Canadian by wearing radical hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and golf shirts, all from Starter Canada. Get radical from only $19.99. Call 1-800-545-5757. These items aren't available in any store. The only way you can get radical is to call now. Dare to be different. Get radical. Be Canadian. The Canadian Football League, it's radically Canadian. Call 1-800-545-5757 now.
Are you ready to taste the one sandwich that started it all for Subway? The classic Italian BMT. 4 magnificent kinds of delicious deli meats on fresh baked bread. Plus, your choice of fresh veggies. You want tomatoes, lettuce, onions. Just point and you got them. Which makes this Italian classic a mouth-watering masterpiece. Hey, is it any wonder the classic Italian BMT is still taking everyone by storm? So hurry in to get the one that started it all. The classic Italian BMT from Subway.
Doug Flutie has engineered another touchdown drive for the Toronto Argonauts, covering 73 yards in 10 plays and finishing off himself with a 1-yard rush. Argos on top of Ottawa, 10-0. Still in the opening quarter, 5:25 to go.
You know, this becomes a very critical stage, even though it's early for Ottawa. My, oh my, 2 drives, 10 points, and Ottawa has not done a thing yet on offense. And
no first downs.
They've got to give their defense a break at least here.
Ken Wilhite. Nice return out near the 45-yard line. And finally a little position for Archer to work with.
Now you see it, Ottawa still searching for that elusive first down, but you know, David Archer's pretty good at understanding situations, and I think he knows right now, being down 10 points, he's got to get something going. He's a good nickel and dime quarterback. He'll read defenses. He's very patient. Will throw underneath coverage, and Toronto will give you a lot of zone coverage, and we'll see after a couple of series now if he hasn't figured a few things out.
Johnson Joseph and Robert Gordon are the wide receivers for David Archer. Set up 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 43. Archer looks to throw in a hurry. Has a man open far side. Good for the first down. That's Johnson Joseph, number 13. Dan Murphy over on the tackle. Johnson Joseph. It should be the other way around, it sounds like, but that's what it says.
I kind of thought it should be Joseph Johnson myself, but nevertheless, he's a young rookie that spent a couple of years at Texas Tech. He's a Canadian from the Quebec area, Lennoxville, and getting his first start tonight.
And that's the first down of the ball game for the Ottawa Rough Riders. 17 yards the gain, setting Ottawa up at the 50. Archer shotgun, and he won't get it away.
Well, you're going to see why Tim Caulfield got 24 sacks a year ago. This is an unbelievable move. He's working on Chris Keneally, the left tackle. Now here's Caulfield here. Watch how he takes up. He swats him with his arm, cuts underneath, and he's going to have a nice clean path. Watch the move right here. Boom! Takes it to the inside, and there it is. Pretty easy pickings for Tim Caulfield, but you can only do that when you got tremendous upper body strength.
Loss of 7 yards, and Archer was sacked several times last week by the BC Lions, so he looks right now at 2nd and 17. Standing up and fired that one for Duke Ellingson. Really not much of an opportunity for Ellingson.
It's funny, David Archer had very good sight line downfield, and he had Billy Hess wide open in the same area, but missed him and tried to get it into the Duke.
So a slow start for Ottawa. This happened against BC last week as well, and Ottawa came back with a big fourth quarter, but I don't think you can spot the Argos too big a lead, and hope to be roaring back late in the game. Lamley high. Cunningham at the 20-yard line. First return a little more substantial than that one. The Argos first down when we return. 3 minutes to go. The opening quarter, and Toronto is on top at Skydome. 10-0.
Brought to you by the world leader in Windows graphics software, Corel Printhouse is the fast and easy way for everyone to create great-looking greeting cards, stationery, banners, and more. Work with professionally designed samples or start your own creations from scratch. With Corel Printhouse, it's only a few easy steps to any printing project. Get creative. Get Corel Printhouse, the easy all-in-one graphics powerhouse exclusively for Microsoft Windows 95.
Are you ready to taste the one sandwich that started it all for Subway? The classic Italian BMT. 4 magnificent kinds of delicious deli meats on fresh baked bread. Plus, your choice of fresh veggies. You want tomatoes, lettuce, onions. Just point and you got them. Which makes this Italian classic a mouth-watering masterpiece. Hey, is it any wonder the classic Italian BMT is still taking everyone by storm? So hurry in to get the one that started it all. The classic Italian BMT from Subway.
6 past the hour at the end of another busy Friday.
As the moment approaches, Eatmore promises rich, dark toffee loaded with peanuts. That's not too sweet tasting. When the moment arrives, Eatmore promises to take a good, long while. Chew and eat more. Stretch the moment. It's a real, long chew.
Back live at Skydome, Paul Mazzatti had an outstanding year in 1995, off to a good start this year, 20 for 275.
Yeah, I told him before the game he projects out to 108 catches on the season right now. He just said, Leifer, it's a long year. I said no, but after 3 games, that's what you project out to.
On first down, here's Drummond for the Argos. Barely across the 32-yard line, Robert Drummond. 100 yards rushing last week, 104 yards receiving for number 29 for the Argos.
Don Matthews called him yesterday the best kept secret in the CFL. I'm not so sure that's accurate. I think a lot of us knew how well Robert Drummond could play given the opportunity. We saw shades of that when he got playing time in Baltimore.
But he did play behind Mike Pringle on second down. Flutie a little high. Fairholm, the intended receiver. He's got a couple of catches already. So with 2:32 to go, opening quarter, Argos on top 10-0. They'll kick it away.
You know what? Since Jeff Fairholm lost a step from a few years ago, this is what defensive backs can do to him. Here's Joe Miro, and watch how he challenges Fairholm right now and messes up the play. 5 years ago, nobody would have done that to Jeff Fairholm. Now that he's maybe lost a step, still a good receiver, make no mistake, but teams can do that to him.
Vanderjack. High and coming down near the 30. Ken Wilhite weaving his way through and up across the 45 to the 48-yard line. Again, good field position for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and an opportunity for Archer to get things rolling here, down 10-0. 15 yards on the return. Vanderjack got a 50-yard punt away. 2 of 5 for 21 yards so far for Archer, and just the 1 first down. Archer from the shotgun at the Ottawa 47. Rogers makes the catch, and he'll be stopped about a yard shy of the first down. That's Joseph Rogers. And Reggie Gibbons played with the Bombers a little bit, over to make the tackle from his middle linebacking spot in Toronto.
And that's what I like about David Archer. He's starting to pick underneath, and that's what Toronto's going to force you to do. They're getting pretty deep drops right now. Occasionally, they're going to come up and challenge, but for the most part, they got a 10-point lead. It's a conservative defense by structure, and that's what David Archer has to do. Take advantage underneath. Boy, he puts it into the hands of Joseph Rogers. Got all kinds of speed. I mean, that's a great first down call. Any call that hits somebody underneath like that and gets 9 yards on first down is going to be a really positive call for the Ottawa offense tonight. This is an offense that's not going to perform well on 2nd and long.
9 and a bit.
Yeah,
so
now
it's
here,
2nd down, less than a yard to go.
And you got a great situation for play action right now. 360. Or quarterback sneak.
And Archer keeps himself. But play action would have worked maybe too.
Well, I love it. You know, in that situation, I mean, you know, you can fall forward and get the 1st down on 3rd down gamble. And I've always been a believer that, you know, this is, even if you're not a gambling team, this is your chance to gamble. And you're only going to get so many opportunities like this and, you know, maybe take advantage of it. Maybe that's why I'm not an offensive coordinator for anybody.
And no one's ever asked, right?
No. No one's ever asked. How come?
From the 52. 1st down, Ottawa. Archer has a man open. Oh, not quite that time. Robert Gordon got in behind Adrian Smith.
Oh, and Bobby Gordon really fooled Adrian Smith. Initially, he ran a slant and then took it upfield, and Adrian Smith had come underneath. He gambled, and he was really lucky. Well, that was a home run that Archer hadn't missed, and you talk about, again, opportunities in a game. That was one for a quick touchdown.
2nd and 10. Ottawa at the Argonaut 52. Archer shotgun again, steps up, looks to the near side for Hess, and he couldn't quite hang on. Hess had it roll through his fingers. And the coverage supplied by Don Odegaard.
That's a tough series for Ottawa because Bobby Gordon's open for a touchdown. You miss him, and now Billy Hess would have been a really tough catch down the sidelines. Don Odegaard had pretty good position, but, you know, I mean, it's a drop ball. Nevertheless, he had a chance to make the play. So a couple of plays that might have been for Ottawa, and all of a sudden they come out of it with nothing.
And still down 10-0, definitely out of Lamley's range.
At least they're going to maybe have a chance to pin Toronto deep, but with Doug Flutie the way he's going tonight, I'm not so sure that makes any difference.
Good kick by Lamley, and this one rolls by Cunningham. It'll sail through for a single point.
Watch the kicker!
As Cunningham watches the clock tick down and gives up the single point. Should be the last play of the opening quarter, with the Argonauts on top 10-0. A couple of chances for Ottawa in the final sequence of the opening quarter, but Archer couldn't quite connect.
CFL Live at the Quarter. Brought to you by Subway. Try Subway's great tasting classic Italian BMT.
Welcome back to the studio. The Toronto Argonauts are a very good football team. You have to make hay while you can. The Ottawa Rough Riders have not been able to do that in the first quarter of play.
They have been not playing with any type of enthusiasm at all. And I've always said that hustle makes up for the lack of talent that you don't have. And they're not doing any type of hustling at all, and they're not giving any type of extra effort. And I have to say this, that Lee Pedersen is taking up for his receivers. How hard is it to catch a ball that hits you dead in the chest? They have to help out their quarterback a lot.
Well, you couldn't do it because you were a defensive back. But a very good
I got more catches than what he got.
That's tough, though, eh, Coach? When you're moving the ball downfield like David Archer was trying to do, and he throws a couple of decent balls, because there were some coverage breakdowns. There was an opportunity there for Ottawa. But if you don't score, Toronto's up 10-0. They're going to bury you if you don't take your opportunities and make the most of them.
Well, I think the number one thing is that, you know, Ottawa just seems to be a little sluggish getting into their offense. And, you know, it's tough when you come off of an emotional game like they had last week, and now they're getting back into another game right away. And but as Les pointed out, they're going to have to play with more intensity if they're going to give these guys a battle.
You know, Bob, when I talked to Leo yesterday, he was worried about this. They only had 3 days of practice, so they were worried they were going to come out sluggish.
Yeah, and that appears to be the case so far. We're ready for the second quarter. Let's make sure we head back to Skydome and join John and Leaf. We'll see if Ottawa can come up with a good defensive stand.
You know, it's funny the fellows talk about Ottawa being sluggish. Well, it's not from jet lag.
No.
Because they took the train.
Here are the numbers from the opening quarter. You're absolutely right. Net yards, 119 for the Argos, and 10 points on the board compared to 28 for the Ottawa Roughriders. Time of possession, interestingly enough, is fairly close. Argos 1st and 10 to begin the second quarter at Skydome. Cunningham and Mazzotti, though, wide receivers. Flutie himself, and he looked to run right from the outset. Grabs about 3 yards is all, as Frank West comes over. West in the position that Eric Jeter occupied last week. Jeter gone for the season with a knee problem. So West, who was on the roster last week, draws in as a starter this time.
Well, he's playing linebacker. He's only about 5'9". He's a cornerback, but he is playing up as a linebacker for some extra coverage. And you know, Toronto tried to run at him with Doug Flutie, but he certainly was equal to the task on that one.
Flutie gets 4. This is 2nd and 6, Toronto. He bobbled it and still completed it. Robert Drummond.
And again, that matchup on Dwayne Knight, and although Drummond caught it, and it looks as though he's going to get the first down, you have to respect the quickness of Dwayne Knight to be able to chase him across the field. I mean, we talked about it. He is a legitimate sprinter, this Robert Drummond, and that's a heck of a job for Dwayne Knight. Maybe an unfair job to ask him to try and chase him all the way across the field.
Number 29 does have remarkable speed. 7 yards to gain. First down, Toronto. At the Argonaut 46. Flutie on target again. Paul Mazzotti in front of Tommy Henry. 16 for Mazzotti.
It's a great pass pattern by Paul Mazzotti at the top of the screen, and bump and run. Watch how hard he works Henry up the field and then brings it back to the quarterback. When you got bump and run and you're running a hook, look how far upfield he goes and then cuts it right off. That's a heck of a pass route right there. Bump and run, boy, you have to work twice as hard.
From the Rough Rider 48 now. This is Drummond, a slight delay, and Drummond falls for an extra couple. Ray Bernard, the middle linebacker, slowing Drummond's progress after a gain of 6. Drummond behind Mike Pringle a year ago as a member of the Baltimore Stallions. 659 yards with Toronto.
Yeah, that was his total
That's
career.
Over 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And most of those were in the first year because he didn't play a lot last season.
Second and 4. Flutie himself, a little quarterback draw. Ran into one of the officials. He'll still have the first down. Jeff Cummins, another ex-Argo, putting the stop on the Argo quarterback.
Sorry, John. This is something you're going to see Doug Flutie do a number of times a game. It's a good matchup with Mike Kiselak on Ray Bernard. And, you know, you'd have to think that as an all-Canadian, he's going to get enough of a block to allow Flutie to get some yardage. But you're going to see that quarterback draw against this defense about 4 or 5 times tonight.
Here comes the heat on Flutie. That's West. He eludes him and continues to go. Flutie to the 20-yard line where he surrenders. Ken Wilhite got in the way. Flutie was looking to the end zone. 16 yards. He came up a little shy.
And watch to the right of your screen. You're going to see Jeff Fairholm actually blocking the linebacker right there, and that allows Flutie to get outside of Frank West, and now the fun starts. I mean, and that wasn't even a move to get by Kenny Wilhite, but Fairholm was the key. He had a blocking assignment, made the block on the blitzing linebacker, and that allowed Flutie to get to the outside.
Absolutely everything working for the Argos in this drive. First down.
Yeah, this looks like a practice session right now.
At the Ottawa 20. Look to the corner. Markers are down. But he has Williams. Tyrone Williams. Getting better by the game, according to Don Matthews. Number 81.
Ottawa, number 95. Decline. First down.
So the march continues. The penalty against Ottawa.
Well, you know, you talk about why is Toronto better. Watch the stunt here and watch how easily the Toronto offensive line picks it up. I mean, all of a sudden, Flutie's got all kinds of time to pick out Tyrone Williams. But, I mean, a year ago, the offensive line wasn't picking up those stunts. Now, with free agent signings, Vic Stevenson, Chris Giaskos is back. He's getting some playing time. Chris Perez. I mean, talk about changes in a team. Toronto's offensive line, which probably doesn't get talked about a lot, is so much improved that it is a real asset.
Swift Birch is the injured Ottawa Rough Rider. The Argos are set up at the Ottawa 3-yard line with 3 cracks headed from there. Flutie took it across himself the last time they were inside the 5. He's got Robert Drummond in the backfield, the lone back. Drummond gets the call, and he should have the touchdown. There's the indication. Robert Drummond into the end zone. Right over top of Ray Bernard. And right behind Burgos and Kiselak.
A look at the surge of the offensive line of Toronto, and Robert Drummond at 6'3", 215. He's too much of a match for Lee Bernard. Look, he just drives Bernard back in the end zone. I mean, that's middle linebacker against running back, and when your back wins it that easily, you know, you've got a bit of a problem on defense.
Vanderjagt adds the extra point, although there is a marker down on the convert. So the Argos comfortably in control at 17-1. So the penalty looks like it's going against the Argonauts, so Ottawa will have to make a decision here. Got a whole bunch on the line on a convert.
Holding. Toronto number 63 will replay the convert.
So Vanderjagt gets another opportunity to practice this. Having a perfect night so far. Vanderjagt good on 1 field goal and a couple of converts.
You know, I really haven't seen him kick a lot, John. I went down to warm up and I stood beside him while he was warming up. I mean, this young man has a tremendously lively leg. Now, you always wonder with a young kicker what kind of head has he got on his shoulder in crucial situations, but you know, if leg strength and rhythm is anything, I mean, this kid's got a lot of potential.
Out of Oakville, went to West Virginia in his first season with the Argos.
And his punting's improved, too. You know, he was coming under fire a bit for that, but right now he's slightly under 44 yards, so he's getting the job done.
He made both converts on that play, but it's still only 17-1.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. If your name appears below, you may have won the all-new Uniden 25-channel cordless phone and digital answering system. It's loaded with exceptional features, no tapes or moving parts. Uniden, built with quality that really goes the distance. Or durable Mikasa stoneware in the lifestyle pattern. It's oven, detergent, microwave, and dishwasher safe. For finest quality dinnerware, stemware, flatware, and gifts, Mikasa sets the standard. Touchdown to Win ballots available exclusively at all participating Safeway stores.
Great football. Great software. Join the winning team. It's unbeatable.
Robert Drummond has just scored his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for the Argonauts. Terrific upper body strength, as you can see from the way he's sitting there.
And you can see from what happens here. I mean, here's your middle linebacker, Ray Bernard, and he's actually going to fill the hole pretty well. But, well, you make a great point, John, about upper body strength. Watch this. I mean, here's a shot to bang, stop him dead. But Robert Drummond takes 2 linebackers actually into the end zone. Another look again, and you know, this is tough. You got to square up into the hole, and Ray Bernard never gets square into that hole. And Robert Drummond, you know, I mean, it wasn't easy, but it looked kind of easy. It's tough.
17-1. Argos on top, looking for their 3rd victory in 4 games. A little bounce right to the next guy through. which was Nick Richards. Richards missed last week, just got into the lineup again this week because of injuries. Ironically, he was off last week because of a slight nick. Well, David Archer has to respond pretty quickly with a first down at his own 35-yard line, down 17-1.
Yeah, and again, for all the normal reasons, I mean, he's got to give his defense a bit of a break. This defense has been on the field a heck of a lot here in the first half, and they're just going to get worn out.
Archer hitting on 57% of his passes so far in 96. Johnson Joseph and Robert Gordon are the outside receivers. Joseph Rogers and Bill Hess are inside. This is Barnes, the running back, getting the call. Greg Eaglin, who used to be a halfback in Hamilton, is a linebacker in Toronto these days.
Well, he's one of those in-between guys. He's 6'2", 190, you know, strong enough to play linebacker, but, you know, obviously he's in there for his coverage ability.
Archer on 2nd and 4. Should have the first down if Hess gets away. Hess made the catch in the first down area and took a step back. Finally got the first down in front of Ed Berry.
And again, where David Archer's having success is to keep it short and underneath. And Billy Hess just inside, pirouette back to the outside. Nice pattern and just enough to get the first down.
Little jump pass from Archer for Reggie Barnes. And he should have the first down. Don Wilson, number 20. Another guy who started in this league as a halfback and has moved up a little bit. Number 20.
Well, that's a good call, too. Just let Reggie Barnes circle out of the backfield. He catches Toronto in a zone defense. Perfect call against that defense. And all of a sudden you get another situation where you're having positive yards on first down, and you make your life a lot easier with your second down calls. And again, slightly, little bit short, and go deep, young man.
They'll have to move the Wilson about 3 inches.
But again, a situation where you can take a chance as a quarterback. And, you know, John Payne, I had him as a head coach twice in Saskatchewan and Hamilton. He's not a great gambler. He's a conservative coach. But I think this is an opportunity for Archer to, you know, take advantage and get more than just picking up the first down.
2nd and inches. Not much more, but enough for Lee Knight.
I'm going to forget about this philosophy for now.
I mean, you wanted a little play-action fake and go for 10-12, something like that, and see if you break a tackle out there.
Well, it plants a seed, too, for the next time you're in short yardage. And I think that sometimes can help.
To the Argonaut 44 with a first down. Ottawa trailing in this one 17-1. Archer to the near side has Robert Gordon. Tough to bring down. Finally flipped out by Adrian Smith, number 12.
You know, a lot of people may say, you know, all of a sudden Toronto's playing a pretty soft defense. Not a lot of man-to-man. Again, a zone. Bobby Gordon just to the outside. Finds the soft spot. Good catch. Good throw by Archer. But they say, well, why doesn't Toronto challenge? Well, I think Toronto's defense right now is saying, look, if you can put 10 plays together and score, good. We don't think you can.
Here's another Ottawa first down. Billy Hess gets inside the 15. Hess, a veteran receiver, played in San Antonio a bit in 1995, so he knows that guy well.
Well, David Archer's doing exactly what he wanted to, generating some offense, giving the defense a break, and this is a good-looking drive.
Another first down. This is Barnes trying to get free after swinging out of the backfield. Adrian Smith came up and read it well and slowed him down enough.
And that's the beauty of the zone defense with the corner rolled up. I mean, he's just looking into the backfield and reading the eyes of David Archer. When Adrian Smith saw the dump out to Reggie Barnes, he was in full flight and made a good play.
A loss of about a half a yard. Here's Archer. Hit to take off, or at least thought about it for a split second. Nothing doing. Tim Cofield and Rob Waldrop had him by the ankles.
Well, when things aren't going well at compounds, you know, Billy Hess broke free. That's who Archer's looking for, but all of a sudden the pressure comes. He's got Rob Waldrop and Tim Cofield. Waldrop with the initial hit, and Cofield wraps up. So all of a sudden, when it looked as though Ottawa had something building, Toronto's defense stiffens up.
Riders will settle for A field goal spotted at the 25. Savvy will hold for Lamley. And he's got that one. He missed a couple last week, but Wayne Lamley has his 4th field goal of the season and goes over 50%. The Ottawa drive stalls around the 30, but they do get 3.
In this clinic, I can't stop for a tough headache, so I asked the doctor. We talked about different kinds of pain relievers, aspirin and Tylenol, but today she recommends Advil. It really works fast, and it's tough on pain. Just 1 Advil's as effective as 2 regular-strength Tylenol. Headache?
No, thanks. I've already got one. Hey.
Advil, for today's tough pain.
I'm Jim McKay with an update from the 2020 Global Games. Graduated hurdles rose, but Great Britain fell. Nathan Rudder grabbed the ring and the gold for the U.S. Earlier today, Caswell Fowler executed the first perfect 10 multiple board dive.
The world of sports is ever evolving, but athletes of today can choose All Sport Body Quencher for fluid replacement, unsurpassed taste, thirst-quenching flavors.
Coming up later, the record-breaking 300-meter dolphin relay.
Steady. Oh! Are not riding as smoothly as you'd like? Well, suspension trouble could be in your struts, your shock, your springs, or your alignment. So, head over to Midas for a free inspection. They'll show you in writing not just what's wrong, but what needs fixing now and what can wait. That way, you get some choice in the matter, which is better than getting jerked around. Midas, the way it should be. Oh, big fella. Oh.
Closed captioning of this CFL telecast is brought to you by Subway. Try Subway's great tasting classic Italian BMT.
John Payne down by a bunch early at 17-4. Here's the kickoff by Ottawa. Cunningham handing out, or at least faking it to the pinball. Cunningham has them pulled. He's to the 35, the 40, and out to the 45-yard line.
Now, one of the reasons they fake the handoff is to try and keep the cover team in their lanes. Ottawa has a habit of bunching into where the ball is kicked. And when you fake it like this, you make sure everybody stays in their lane, which Ottawa did, and that allows the blocking scheme to form a lot easier for Toronto's kick return. It's a good scheme, and it worked to perfection.
41 yards on the return.
Yeah, Lamley has to make the tackle. If he doesn't make the tackle, the Jet may go all the way.
Flutie good on 8 of 11 for 118 yards. And he's hit 5 receivers so far. And the Argonaut 47, first down Toronto. Flutie looking deep, looking for the Jet. And the coverage that time by Leonard Humphreys. Humphreys played 13 games with the Colts on special teams.
Well, you look at what Doug Flutie has done tonight on offense. Their first 4 possessions, every time except once they've scored some points. And, that's what this team's trying to do. They talk about it every day just to have some consistency, to get more familiar with each other. And tonight, they're off to a good start. You score 3 times out of 4. That's not bad.
Second and 10. And Williams stopped shy of the first down. Tyrone Williams, second catch of the ball game.
And really a mistake by a young player. Well, he's not so young. He just hasn't had a lot of playing time in his travels in the NFL, but hasn't really been a starter since he was at Western. But as he's running this pattern on second and 10, he comes up just a little bit short. And I think the next time Doug Flutie will have a chat with him, and he'll say, look, Tyrone, when you get that close, you make sure you go the necessary distance. Don't leave me on 3rd and 1.
Great size at 6'5", 220 pounds in his second season out of Western. Came over from the Calgary Stampeders. Vanderjack, high kick. Wilhite at the 12. And stopped by Dan Murphy after an 8-yard return. Timeout at Skydome in Toronto. The Rough Riders battling back.
Great football. Great software. Join the winning team. It's unbeatable.
Are you ready to taste the one sandwich that started it all for Subway? The classic Italian BMT. 4 magnificent kinds of delicious deli meats on fresh baked bread. Plus, your choice of fresh veggies. You want tomatoes, lettuce, onions. Just point and you got them. Which makes this Italian classic a mouth-watering masterpiece. Hey, is it any wonder the classic Italian BMT is still taking everyone by storm? So hurry in to get the one that started it all. The classic Italian BMT from Subway.
It's 6 past the hour at the end of another busy Friday.
As the moment approaches, Eatmore promises rich, dark toffee, loaded with peanuts. That's not too sweet tasting. When the moment arrives, Eatmore promises to take a good, long while. Chew and eat more. Stretch the moment. It's a real, long chew.
Back at Skydome, head coach John Payne took over last week as head coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders. He won one. In game 2, he's down 17-4.
And that's his son, Rob Payne. Kind of nice when you're the head coach. You can bring your son in as an assistant. He's worked with running backs back in Sacramento days. So Rob Payne joining his father here in Ottawa.
Reggie Barnes on first down for the Rough Riders.
I should say here in Toronto with Ottawa.
Here in Toronto with Ottawa. Must be feeling a little old. Didn't Robbie used to be a ball boy with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders back when you were playing?
Yes, he was. And
knee-high to a grasshopper?
I said I'd get him on tonight because ESPN will tape delay this game. And, of course, they're using our pictures tonight. So Mom Dorothy, who is in Tulsa, will probably get a chance to see her son.
On second down, Archer behind the intended receiver. He was looking for Joseph Rogers, number 83. And Ed Barry had an opportunity for his second interception of the season.
Well, it's tough right now. It's simple. I mean, Ottawa's just not making the plays. I mean, you can talk about enthusiasm level or talent level or whatever. I mean, the bottom line is they're not making any plays. It's 2 and out again. You're down by 13. And this is a tough way to play football in somebody else's park.
Lamley standing back at his 11.
You know, there haven't been many real good hits in this game either. This is kind of a sleeper right now. Toronto's playing pretty well, but, you know, Ottawa needs something to happen. A fumble, interception, or a big hit. Just crank somebody, try and wake your teammates up.
Cunningham draws a flag on the return. Nailed right at midfield.
We used to have George Wells out in Saskatchewan. Whenever things were dull, you know, they used to say, George, you know, liven things up, and he'd clothesline, take a roughing penalty, or do whatever he had to do, and he was allowed 1 penalty. But more often than not, it got everybody cranked up.
First down.
Now, I'm not suggesting that that's what Ottawa has to do, but somebody has to reach down and do something pretty spectacular here to get this team out of their funk.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a penalty, a big hit.
Well, sometimes that helps, too, if it's the right kind.
Yeah. Argos with great field position again, set up at the Ottawa 51. Long night for the defense of the Rough Riders already against Flutie. He's on target for Cunningham, and a nice tackle in the open field by Humphreys.
Boy, was it ever. I mean, that is a scheme where you've got 4 receivers to the wide side of the field, and you've got Jimmy Cunningham, the speedster, all by himself to one side of the field. Now, if Larry Humphreys misses, that's 6 points. So that is a heck of a tackle. And don't think Larry Humphreys didn't know the situation right there. Leonard Humphreys.
Leonard Humphreys. 2nd and 6. Some early movement, no flags down yet. Flutie throwing on the run, and he one-hopped it for Mike Clemens, who hasn't had his hands on the football that I've seen so far tonight, number 31 for the Argos.
No, I don't know that they know what to do with Mike Clemens right now. He's not going to be the running back. Robert Drummond's going to take care of most of that, and you know, he's only caught
0 passes.
0 tonight. He's caught 15 balls in 3 games, so he has made a contribution. Jimmy Cunningham's doing most of the kick returning, so no, they're searching Adam Rita right now to find where he's going to make the most useful contribution. I'm sure it's going to be as an inside number 3 receiver.
Here's Vanderjack looking to fake now. Pooches it out on the run. Not quite out of bounds. Here's Wilhite. Has a chance for a return. I thought Vanderjack was just going to chip that out of bounds. He looked awfully calm out there on the play. Got desired results, pinning Ottawa deep and allowing 0 on the return. Big smile for Big Mike.
If you want full Office Suite power at a word processor price, look no further than Corel WordPerfect Suite. Corel WordPerfect Suite includes an exceptionally intelligent word processor, an award-winning spreadsheet, amazing presentation graphics, plus business graphics and utilities, hundreds of fonts and thousands of clip art images. Corel WordPerfect Suite delivers Office Suite power at a word processor price.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. There's a prize for every touchdown and interception during TSN telecasts. Prizes like a Daewoo 27-inch stereo TV, a Uniden cordless phone and answering system, a Dirt Devil Ultra hand vac and cordless broom vac, or a packing case from Skyway Luggage. Or win a trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta, courtesy of Canadian Holidays, Canada's largest vacation company. Safeway feature products. Safeway Select Cookies. Jell-O Jelly Powders. Touchdown to Win at Safeway, today's better way.
Coming up at the Corral halftime, we'll get a little closer look at Robert Drummond. Our fearless foursome and John Leif will give us their first half thoughts on what has taken place so far. Let's head back to Skydome.
Well, this was a play that Toronto put in specifically tonight for Ottawa. They thought they could hit it on a punt cover. Here's Tyrone Williams in the game, and Don Matthews told us to watch for this. Well, he doesn't get open, but boy, give Mike Vanderjack a lot of credit. I mean, he's an ex-quarterback in high school. He's looking for Tyrone. He says, no way. But he still has enough time, and that's a heck of a kick into the corner. So, I commented on him earlier. Physically, he's got all the skills. You wonder mentally, can he play this game? And, boy, he just showed me a lot right there. Pretty calm under fire.
In his first season, Mike Vanderjack, first down for Archer, play action. And he fires over the middle on target. First down, Ottawa. Bill Hess made the tackle.
Billy Hess is going to catch a lot of balls with David Archer this year. He's the perfect kind of inside receiver for Archer, a guy that reads coverage as well, a good possession receiver. He can go deep, but he is tough in that 12 to 15-yard range, and I think he's going to catch a bunch this year.
8th completion for Archer. Here's number 9. Hang on, Joseph dropped it. That's Johnson Joseph. Thought he had it, Leaf, but I guess not for long enough.
Yeah, and the old cardinal mistake of a young player, all of a sudden the heart starts pounding when you got that ball coming at you. You know you're going to make the catch, and you're trying to think of how many extra yards you're going to get, and all of a sudden you're walking back to the huddle saying, why the heck did I drop that?
Yes.
Yeah, and you're thinking, wow, he's out of the game now. He's not even going to get a second chance. They substitute right away.
First start for Johnson Joseph, number 13. They've got Joseph Rogers out in his spot, split line to the right now. Nice toss. Robert Gordon hangs on in front of Marcelo Simmons.
Well, I know back in the studio, I'll bet you that put a smile on the face of Bob Ovilovich, because he loved Bobby Gordon when he had him here in Toronto, and this is a heck of a catch. I mean, you're going to take the hit, you're going into traffic, and yet you still hang on to the football. And, this is kind of desperation time. 2 minutes to go in the half, and, Ottawa, they get some points here and get the big one. They're right back in this game.
29-yard gain, and Archer goes to Gordon again. He fights his way to the 40. And again, it's Marcelo Simmons, number 9, on the tackle.
I'll tell you, here's what David Archer's looking for. He's got Dan Murphy coming on the safety blitz, and he knows he's got one over the middle if he can get it there. And good read, gets rid of the ball quickly, and they keep the drive going.
2:04 to halftime. 2nd and 4, facing Archer now. Again, Hess dropped that one. Should have had it. Bill Hess dropped it in front of Ed Berry.
Well, heck, that's 2 drops in this drive. If Archer and his offense can overcome this, then they've done a great job, because this is a good pattern. Again, the pirouette inside, back to the outside, beats Ed Berry badly, but just can't hang on to the football. And all of a sudden, you got 2nd down. Now it's 3rd down, and Man, oh man, that's been the story tonight for Ottawa. They just have not made the big plays when they needed to.
Bill Hess with 10 receptions for 148 yards coming in.
You make that catch, too. I mean, you're in field goal range with that catch right off the bat. So, I mean, that's the worst that's going to happen to you on this drive. And, Billy Hess, all he can do is go back to the bench and wonder why the heck he couldn't hang on to it.
Now you send the defense back on the field, and
you give
Flutie gets another opportunity.
Yeah, good point.
Lamley. One man go through. That was Wilson. I don't know how he got away with that one. Cunningham on the return, and that draws a flag. Did Wilson run right by it, Leaf?
He ran right by it.
Have another look at this. Wilson was in clean.
Well, it's kind of unbelievable. Lamley just says, oops. I think I'll just pause and wait. Now, you talk about having a presence of mind. I mean, that's pretty heads up. So, he didn't get that thing blocked.
33-yard punt for Ottawa, and very little return for the Argos. Lamley smiling about that. He has the one field goal and one long single tonight. Ottawa's only points. It's 17-4 Argonauts on top of the Rough Riders. 1:46 to go, and if you're Ottawa's defense, that's too much time to hand Flutie heading to the dressing room.
Yeah, I think John Payne was just saying, smart play, kid.
Argos at 2-1, Ottawa at 1-2. Flutie at the controls for Toronto. Beginning at the Argo 26, and here's Drummond, slowed from behind, and then a good tackle at the 30-yard line by Jacobitz, number 20. Played a few games for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah, Winnipeg thought he was going to be a terrific middle safety for them for a long period of time. It just didn't work out that way, and now he's getting a second chance with Ottawa and trying to make the best of it.
He had a broken leg in '95 and is just nicely recovering from that. 2nd and 6, Argos at the Toronto 31. Markers are down in the Toronto backfield as Flutie takes off. Decent guess this will be holding, although Flutie is in the first down area out near the 40. Dawson, who was at the Argo camp along with Lloyd Lewis, on the stop on Flutie that time.
Repeat, second down.
Now Chris Giaskis is in at right tackle, and you get into trouble. Here he is. Cummins is going to take the inside route, and you get into trouble when you stop moving your feet. Watch his feet. Hey, they stop, and you're dead in the water. Now he's got a hold to make sure his quarterback doesn't get a hit, and he gets called. Some people would say when you're beaten like that, it's a good hold to protect the $1 million guy back there.
At this stage of the game, I'd say it is. Flutie now looking at 2nd and 16. He had Cunningham and tight defensive coverage by Leonard Humphreys again.
Well, I've been impressed.
He's been very impressive. You're right.
You betcha. I tell you what, Jimmy Cunningham has got tremendous speed, and when he makes his break, Leonard Humphreys, you're going to get a great look at it here. Watch how he breaks down and closes the gap. Now, boom, accelerating through the football up over the top. I mean, you don't play corner any better than Leonard Humphreys just showed you how to do it right there.
He had a solid game against the Lions last week. Vanderjack, high, deep kick, coming down to Wilhite at the 30, bobbled it for a split second. And that cost him some yardage, only a 3-yard return. Good coverage by the Argos special teams. So that gives Archer 57 seconds to work with. He's had some opportunities. He's had some drop passes.
Well, the numbers really don't reflect how well he has played in this first half. You look at Johnson Joseph dropped one. Billy Hess has dropped one that I can recall. And
in the first quarter, there were a couple of drop passes, a little more difficult catches late, but possibles at least.
Well, I heard David Archer on a local radio station yesterday doing an interview, and he's such a well-spoken guy. He's so positive, and if they can win some games in the city of Ottawa, I'll tell you, those fans are going to love this guy up there.
57 seconds till a half. Archer on first down, almost picked off, and there were a couple of Argos who had a chance at it. Adrian Smith, number 12, had the best opportunity.
Sure are seeing some terrific play by the corners out there tonight. Just as Leonard Humphreys on the last series made a great play for Ottawa, Adrian Smith almost comes up with the interception right here. Ball wobbles and hangs just a touch, and that allows Smith with his speed to cut underneath Joseph Johnson.
Johnson Joseph. Doesn't make any sense. Johnson Joseph is the way it's supposed to go. And this time, Joseph is split to the near side, number 13. 2nd and 10. Archer getting a little heat here. And another drop pass, this time by the veteran Reggie Barnes. No one can catch a ball for Ottawa tonight. Just about everyone has dropped one from the quarterback.
Yeah, and you know, when you're struggling, everybody's trying to make something happen and do just a little bit more than they're expected to do. I mean, you know, Reggie on that play is just expected to catch the ball and then, you know, pick up 2 or 3, 4 yards, whatever he can get. But everybody's thinking they've got to break one here, and it seems like they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves.
They really are. There have been opportunities to at least come away with field goals, and that would have narrowed the gap substantially here with a couple.
Well, you look at the way this game has gone, 17-4. Heck, it's certainly not out of Ottawa's reach. They just have to win at halftime and, you know, just say, listen, guys, we just got to start making some plays. It's as simple as that. It's not rocket science. It's just catch the ball and let's proceed.
Lamley matches the punt almost to Vanderjack, who nailed a 60-yarder. And now with 34 seconds to go, Fairholm and the Argonaut offense trotting back onto the field.
Well, he had it all. You look what he did with Saskatchewan. Those are the numbers, career, and what he's done in Toronto. And you look back, 91, 92, and 1993. He had 70, 74, and 72 catches, respectively, that went on to create that 340 total.
3 1,000-yard seasons in that area.
Man, he
back to back.
For 3 years, he lit up the league, and he's lost a step. He'll admit that, but he's still got some skills. And there you see his numbers from tonight. And well, I think don't be happier than Flutie if Jeff Fairholm had a resurgence and made an enormous contribution.
34 till halftime. Flutie to the near side. And he missed his target that time.
And what a free shot for Leonard Humphreys. I mean, he had some malice in his eyes right there as he had the little guy stretched out, and it was an opportunity to unload and put a little message hit on him for later. Boy, he's had a quality first half. Now this is message time right here. Drill him. And he may not want to come into your area so aggressively the next time.
2nd and 10 for Flutie and the Argos. 29 seconds till the half. Toronto on top by 13. Markers down. Flutie is nailed. Argos allowed 5 sacks coming into this one. Flutie down for the first time. And the penalty goes against Toronto. Timing has not been perfect for the Argonauts so far this season, and Don Matthews was talking about that the other day.
Starter number 81 declines. 3rd down.
It was interesting. He said, you know, even if we're well ahead of teams in the 4th quarter, if that should happen to occur, I'm going to leave my first stringers in because they need lots of game playing time right now to get everything coordinated.
Into the final 23 seconds now as Willite drops back. Along with Robert Gordon. Vanderjack taking his time to get this one away, so they'll take a slight delay.
Well, Ottawa calls timeout. The clock was just running down. They were going to kill the half. And pretty smart coaching move by John Payne to stop the clock and at least allow his team either a chance at the block or to set up a return with 14 seconds to go. If they had a good return, they may have a shot at a field goal. But there's not too many things that John Payne hasn't seen or will miss coaching during a game, and I think that's one of the real stabilities that he will bring to this team. You know, he talked about David Archer last week. He said Archer put in most of the offense and should share a great deal of the credit for their win.
Gordon bobbled it and barely got 2 yards on the return. Ken Benson leading the Argonaut tacklers. And Archer trots out for one last chance. 5 seconds on the clock. He put this one up and just say a little prayer.
I like your style.
Yeah. Of course, they weren't listening to you in the first half when you wanted play action on those
Nobody does.
second and inches.
Why should they be any different?
Argos got 10 points in the opening quarter, 7 in the second quarter. Rough Riders managed 1 and 3 for their 4 on the board so far. Archer swings it for Barnes, and this will pretty well run out the clock as Barnes goes down in the middle of the Argo logo around midfield. Stay with us at halftime. Lots coming up from CFL TSN Football Control.
CFL Live at the Half. Brought to you by Corel, world leader in CD-ROM technology.
Welcome back to the studio. 17-4 at the half. The Toronto Argonauts have had an opportunity to blow these guys out of the water in the first half, but yet they've been unable to do that. As for Ottawa, they've had that ability to come back in this football game, but nobody can hang on to the ball. Les?
That's the problem here with Ottawa. That everybody, and they share the blame here, everybody has been dropping the ball. You go from the running back to all the receivers. When they sit in the films, nobody will be able to laugh at anybody because they're all doing the same thing.
You know what, Les? At the beginning of the season, we were told about how powerful Toronto was going to be. Here we are in the 4th game. I'm not overly impressed with Toronto either. They don't seem to be mustering much offense either.
No, I don't think it's being a well-played game at the half at this stage of the game, but, you know, maybe they need a half to wake up because they've been playing so many games in a row and short weeks and all that stuff. And I thought that Ottawa would try and establish the running game a little more because of those 2 outside linebackers that Toronto deploys with defensive backs on the outside. Early in the game, they ran a couple with Reggie, and it looked pretty good. And because I think if they can establish a running game, that'll give Archer a little more time to set up his passing game.
Pretty hard to run the ball, though, when you're down 10-0, boom, just like that, too.
Yeah.
So that took them out of their game plan somewhat. If they can move it downfield, perhaps they could make a game of this.
Well, they could have been in the game with, like I said, with the draw passes, but 10-0, 10 points isn't really anything in the Canadian Football League. They can come back from that within anything, and it's not any panic button you shouldn't push any panic button to change your offensive game plan. They still should run the ball.
Especially with Doug Flutie, too, running the controls for the Toronto Argonauts. You kind of get the feeling that he's lulling him into a false sense of security almost. Ottawa's not doing a lot out there, and you haven't been impressed with the Argos this year, but you know what? Flutie's always got that ability to win the football game, and it looks like Toronto's just doing enough to win the football game right now.
Well, it's funny, Darren, because I feel that way about Matt Dunnigan and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and
there you go again. You love Dunnigan, Marty. That's
well,
we got to get the T-shirt, eh? The I Love Dunny T-shirt.
Well, he's the best quarterback in the CFL, and let's tell it like it is. So here's what I'm saying.
There's a lot to like about Matt Dunnigan. Right. There's no doubt about that.
But he was saying the other day that he's not happy with the way his team is performing, that it's still gelling and this sort of thing. So can you imagine when that team starts learning what to do? I think they're going to get a lot better. Who do you like better right now, Toronto or Hamilton?
Right now, I'd have to go. That's a hard toss-up because Hamilton's offense is putting up a ton of points. Hamilton's defense is giving up a ton of points. So if you go by that way, the next meeting, I'd have to go at Toronto right now until Hamilton's defense shows that they can start shutting people down.
Well, you're wrong. What do you think, Bob?
Opinions are... Never mind, I won't go there.
No, I'll tell you, and the other facet of the two teams is that I think the kicking game's on Hamilton's side, really. Sure. I think that they have Osballison's a proven veteran that will do better in most games. Evander Jan's still trying to prove that he can do both. Right. I still think he's a decent field goal kicker, but I'm not sold on him as a punter yet.
What about the 2 kickers in tonight's game? They've both made excellent plays. It was your buddy Donnie Wilson. He thought he was going to block one, but Lamley just held it out there, pulled it back. Wilson went by, and Mike Vanderjag did a good job as well. We have to take a short break. When we come back, we'll get a little closer look at one of the stars for the Toronto Argonauts. Stay tuned. When we return, we'll feature Robert Drummond.